Healing Journeys today. Welcome to HARTbeat. Butch and Julieann Hartman here. We're not in our normal spot.
No.
We're in a very high-end studio, as you can see. We have a washer and dryer back there, and we have these windows. We're actually at my daughter's house, and we've been visiting for a very important reason. You want to tell them the reason we're down here?
Yes, because we became grandparents. I know we've been talking about it a lot, but last Thursday at 6:54 p.m. Eastern Time, Coco Conrad was born, and she is just dreamy.
Our first grandchild, our granddaughter, first
Right.
grandchild, this beautiful little girl was born last Thursday. And at the time of our last recording, she wasn't here yet.
Mm-mm.
So between then and now, we become grandparents. I know many of you are grandparents as well. You know the feeling. There's no better feeling right now to us. It's just the most exciting thing.
Yeah.
This little creature is here, and she's just so special and precious. And the one thing that got me, besides her beauty and amazing and how amazing it all is just how helpless she is and how she depends on every single person around her, which is why all of us have an influence over somebody. Someone's depending on us in some way.
Yeah.
So I want to put that out there. But what we want to talk about today is birthing a vision. And here's why. My daughter, Carly, bless her heart, she's 29 years old, gave birth to this beautiful girl. And Carly is the most upbeat, positive, amazing individual you'll ever meet. I know a lot of people say that about their kids, but in our case, we really believe it's true. Carly had a very long birth. I mean, to give birth to this child was a very long, hard labor. And Carly had such a great attitude through the whole thing.
Smiled.
She delivered this baby, and at the end, she said she had no energy left to push, and it was only the supernatural power of the Lord that got her over the last hump there when that baby finally emerged. And we were just so proud of her. But she really, why don't you tell her how you were feeling during the whole, because she was in the delivery room. I was not. I was in the waiting room. But what was your experience like in that room?
Well, so it's interesting because I was not just a spectator, but I'm also her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I have protected my daughter from anything painful, physically, emotionally.
Since she was the size of her own baby.
She was that size. And so having to watch that was really hard for me because I just saw, it was giving me flashbacks and taking me back to when Carly was young and she had, a lot of obstacles hitting her with, she was such a beautiful girl. And so other kids weren't always happy about that. And so kids were mean to her, just little things like that. And so I really fought for her. And so to watch her fight to deliver her daughter was really incredible. I mean, honestly, since the baby came, we've been here every day. I've been spending the night just helping out. They don't really even need me. This baby is like an angel. She sleeps all night long. We have to wake her up to eat and change a diaper. But
we think she's a literal angel. Really,
she really is. She definitely came from the Lord. But so I'm still trying to process because there was so much that was happening and we've been so busy ever since the baby was born. But the bottom line is that our daughter labored hard. It was 42 hours and the last 10 were extremely hard and the last 4 was unbearable, but she did it. And so that's why, we named this, birthing a vision. She birthed the vision that she and her husband had. They wanted to have kids as soon as they got married and they waited like a year, but this is the vision of them having several babies. And this is the vision that they had. And she was birthing that vision last Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And she, no matter what got in the way, whether it was the baby, wasn't dropping down or it was, her water broke too early. They had to induce labor. They had to do all these things, no matter what obstacles came into her, face to face, she faced them. And also I want to add this is that she could not, at the very end, she could not do it on her own anymore. She literally was not able. Her body was there, but she was not able. Her own physical strength gave out. She wasn't able to push like they were asking. And she would just say, Jesus, Jesus. She would just keep talking to Jesus during each time when they wanted her to push. And there was something that came over her. And the doula who was in there, she even said after, she goes, man, something supernatural came over you. And that's how that baby came out. Yeah. Something supernatural happened. And so watching all of that, and God had shown me a couple weeks before, I said, Carly, God said that something supernatural is going to happen. You're going to be like, whoosh, like the baby's going to come at that. And that's exactly what happened. So, just letting you know that, these visions, I mean, and Carly is doing incredibly well. We just went with her to get her hair done. Like the baby is so awesome and thriving, and Levi is the best dad. So when she brought the vision forward, she has a thing already, a system already set up for greatness, which is an incredible husband, a beautiful house, but not just a beautiful house, but a loving house, and grandparents on each side.
Yeah, and we're so grateful to the other grandparents, Karen and Dave, who were there the whole time with us. Dave and I were in the waiting room the whole time. And during all of this, by the way, I want to kind of segue a little bit into this, and we'll come back. But during all of this, I'm in the waiting room getting texts from people in Los Angeles, because we're in Florida right now, for the birth of this baby. And Los Angeles was on fire for the last week. And so I'm dealing with all of these texts because the fire was coming close to our house. Thankfully, our home is okay, and we're very grateful for that.
Praise Jesus.
Praise Jesus for that. But a lot of our friends lost everything, and that's very tragic. So we've lifted them up in prayer. Of course, we're going to set up some sort of an outreach at our church. We'll figure that out. But I'm dealing with that in the waiting room, and then dealing with texts about the baby from the delivery room. And all these things were happening. So it was a very emotional time, even though I wasn't in labor like my daughter. And believe me, I'm not comparing this to her, what she went through. But what she went through, it really taught both of us, when something is going to be birthed, there is going to be some uncomfortable moments. Things aren't going to go exactly as planned. Carly and Levi had all these other things planned, and it all kind of changed at an instant. But if you hang in there, and if you truly believe this vision is worth pushing out, and the vision is worth birthing, then it's going to happen. But there will be a struggle. I don't mean a struggle that God's going to put on you, like, I'm going to make you struggle for this. However, doing anything worthwhile takes struggle. Carly knew the whole time, all 9 months that she was pregnant, that it would be a struggle to get this baby out. Because let's face it, ladies, anyone out there who's had a baby, it's never super easy.
Babies don't they do just pop out, but you have to put yourself in a position for that to happen.
Some babies do just, bam, come right out. We were sort of hoping that would happen with Carly, but the baby was a week late. She didn't know she was a week late, because the doctor said, hey, January 2nd. She came out January 9th. And the fun part was my birthday was the next day. So the baby came out 5 hours before my birthday. So we almost have the same birthday. So we're always going to celebrate our birthdays together. But guess who's going to get more presents? I'm assuming we all know who that's going to be. The baby, of course. But watching this girl, she never gave up. I don't even think she complained.
Never.
Didn't complain.
Never.
Didn't
and they were doing all kinds of crazy
Didn't
things
ask why me, why this, oh, why. I mean, There's a scripture in the Bible, and I'll find it in a minute, that talks about when a woman gives birth, there's pain, but then once the baby's here, the pain is forgotten. Now, I'm not sure it's always forgotten, but it's forgotten.
Oh, no, you forget.
You forget, because now you have such a great reward from all that struggle. Your vision, whatever you're envisioning now, whatever your dream is, it's worth fighting for, and it's worth struggling for.
If you have to.
My point is, whatever struggles, whatever obstacles come up, because they will come up, whatever comes up is worth fighting through and fighting for.
Yeah. And so let's just now talk about not just like a vision for, let's say, a career, but what about a vision for your marriage? Right. Like, what do you want to see? Like, let's do this. We're in January, right? Where do you want to see your marriage in a year from now? Do you want to see it? Is it just perfect and you don't see any, like, there's no changes to be made? Well, that's kind of silly, because there is always going to be changes to be made. Not like they're like, hey, I've got to talk to you about all these changes all the time, but there will be some things like, whatever, you might be, the husband might be getting too busy or something and isn't around so much. And you're like, hey, I really would love if you would spend more time. Okay, great. Great. situation. Like we need to like talk about it and let's see how we can work it out and not yell about it or scream about it. But what is the vision that you want for your marriage? And it's not just the things that you can have. Think about it. I really want you to think about what you can have between you. What kind of communication skills do you guys want?
What can you enhance? And I don't care how old you are. I don't care how long you've been married, how long you've been doing the same thing. Because trust me, I've been praying about this for myself lately. There's some things about me that I've got to adjust slightly, and it's only a slight adjustment, but some things that I want to get better at and more, more aware of, And so I'm just asking the Lord, how do I do this? Now, the Lord's not going to do it for me. He won't do it for me. I've got to do it. And by the way, that goes for anything.
But he changed. But
you have to want to do it.
Yeah,
you have to make the effort to do it. Everybody out there who wants to lose weight, well, God's not going to go like this and you lose weight.
Well, I wish that happened.
So do I. But you need to be able to implement that in your own life and make it into a lifestyle. Here's the scripture I was talking about earlier. It's John 16:21. And Jesus is talking. When a woman is giving birth, she has sorrow because her hour has come. Like the pain and all that's coming. But when she's delivered the baby, she no longer remembers the anguish for joy that a human being has been born into the world. So whatever pain you're feeling with whatever vision you're trying to birth out, even if it is, let's go back to losing weight. There's pain involved in losing weight. You've got to sacrifice all the fun food you like, right?
Yeah.
You gotta get out there and exercise. Everyone knows what it takes to lose weight. It takes discipline, and there is a struggle in there. What I mean by struggle, lifting a heavy weight is a struggle.
Right. And a struggle is you're fighting against your flesh. Let's just face it. Like
that's what a struggle is.
You're fighting against your cravings. You're fighting against, well, this is what I do. You're fighting against, well, it tastes really good. Like all those things that you're fighting against are the things that's the carnal mind in you. That's the carnalness of you. So you have to, that's your struggle. Like, I am not giving into my carnal mind. This is what we're doing. This is how I do it. And this is what we're doing. And I want to see a change. I want to change this vision. I want to do things like, for instance, I mean, even in our businesses and stuff, like we have to go over things and kind of keep checking to make sure that the vision that we first originally started with is where we're still headed.
Well, here's the other thing. Now that the beautiful baby has been born, and this baby is absolutely gorgeous, she has to be watched 24/7.
Oh yeah,
as you all know. And because the baby can't do anything for herself, just like what you're trying to birth in your marriage or in your career, your life, whatever it is, once the vision is thought of and starts coming to pass, you need to nurture it. You can't just go, hey, I'm going to build a house and then buy all the material and just let it sit there in the lot and never go back. It's never going to get built.
I like what you said, because if you think about it, this little infant, and that's what she is. She's only like
she's
7 pounds.
7 pounds, 11 ounces, the cutest you've ever seen.
So cute. But you said this earlier, she has to depend on everybody. She can't. The only thing she can do is breathe, suck, drink, cry, and go to the bathroom. She cannot do anything else.
And by the way, all of us can do those things too. But we now are built for more than those things.
Yes.
That's just
but that's all she can do. And so she needs somebody to carry her from one place to another. She needs someone to change a diaper. She needs someone to feed her. She needs someone to make a decision for her,
to protect
her. So it's like, we'll never be an infant, but what is it that we keep doing that, let's, like Carly said, I had to completely give myself to let the Lord get this baby out, because my carnal mind, her mind was too much for her to embrace.
And Carly is dialed into the Lord, believe me. She has a great relationship with Jesus. She knows.
Does.
But at some certain, when you're giving birth or doing anything physical, your physical strength is really, really pushed to the limit.
Yeah.
And your physical strength only goes so far. We all know that.
Yeah.
So that's where the supernatural strength has to come in. So I'm just asking all of you, when will you begin applying supernatural strength to your situation, to your vision? Listen, it's 2025. Healing Journeys today is about to celebrate its 5th anniversary, by the way, coming up in April. So if you've been watching this channel for any length of time, we're going on 5 years now. And even birthing this channel, all the people involved, all the organization involved, all the editing involved, all the, putting the videos up, all the finances, everything, the trips we take, the conferences we do, the correspondence with the audience, all of it takes work. And by the way, if you want to donate to this cause, we would really appreciate it, because it is something that lives off the amazing hearts of the people that watch. So we're grateful.
HealingJourneystoday.com and check that out.
Donating, we would appreciate that. But all of it takes work, and the vision needs to be birthed by an entire team. This baby didn't come into the world with just Carly and this baby. There was a whole team around Carly, helping her.
That was it too. And it's like when you need it, like there was at the end, there was 20 people in that room around Carly, 20 people. And they all had a part in it.
Were there 20 people?
Yes, it was ridiculous how many people.
Yeah, I couldn't even go in there at one point because it was too intense, and I wasn't even allowed really in.
Well, you probably don't want to see your daughter.
No, and then you were in there. The husband who should have been in there was in there. The other grandma was there. Then the medical team.
But our son-in-law Levi was right there in Carly's face the whole time.
Hero, a real hero.
Just encouraging her and telling her she could do it, and telling her how much he loved her and how they were going to see the baby and all that stuff. And so that's what it takes. But then also too, I want to say, so get back to what is it that we're doing that we're trying to manipulate and we're trying to do on our own. It's like, God's like, no, Julieann, but let me do this. Stay out of it. Keep your bad attitude out of it. Keep your good attitude, but keep your fingers off it. Let me do this for you. And so, that's what I love. God is like, let me be the Lord of your life, and let me show you how incredible I am, and how, meaning God, and how he wants to bless you. He says, the blessings are from the Lord. It makes one rich and adds no sorrow. And that rich doesn't necessarily mean finances, but it means rich in everything. Rich in relationships, rich in your marriage,
and it can mean finances.
And
but
finances
a lot of people get finances and they're miserable because they have them. But a lot of people get them and they aren't sorrowful, because the blessing of the Lord makes one rich and he adds no sorrow with it. Sometimes abundance comes with sorrow because you don't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
And like this little baby, if this little baby wasn't looked after, or if this little baby didn't have the right parents, for example, they don't look at her as a burden. They look at her as a blessing. And this baby will be treated like a blessing. We just met a young lady earlier this week. We were talking, and she told us that there was a family member who was never treated properly, who was looked upon as a burden in her family. And we were like, what does that mean? And it was very, very sad to hear that a family member would be treated that way.
Yeah.
So some people are looked upon as a burden. And it's a shame when that happens. So here's the thing. Don't be a burden while you're birthing your vision. Make other people empowered. Bring other people alongside with you. If you want your marriage to be better, your spouse has to be involved.
Yeah.
You can get better. That's great. But they have to be involved as well. I want to have an amazing next 10 years, right? Don't you want to have an amazing next 10 years?
Well, considering I'll be 72, yes.
In 10 years?
Yes.
And I just turned 60.
Oh, that's right.
5 hours after my granddaughter was born. So I'm 60 years older than her. And boy, that little baby girl has me wrapped around her finger already.
All of us. And
of course, Grandpa will always be here. But guys, wanted just to thank you for this week. It's been a blessing. Thank you for being there with us as we journey on with our granddaughter. We're going to be showing you pictures eventually. He's got to get clearance from the mom, which ones are cool to show.
Yes.
But we want to make sure you guys know you're in this with us. You're our family. We love you. And we certainly are wanting to see all of you birth the vision God's put inside your heart. But it will be a little bit of work.
Can't be afraid of work. Hey, it's not going to be easy raising a daughter.
No.
I mean, we did it. We did 2. And they're planning on having like 4. But it's not easy. It's not easy. But it's worth it.
Oh, yeah.
Worth it. And if God's called you to be married to the person you're married to, there's a worth it there as well, to fight for it if you need to, or to nurture it and keep it going strong. Whatever that is, it's worth it. So we love you guys so much. And I actually go into more detail about the birth on my teaching that I did yesterday, which was, sorry, I mean to move the screen like that, which was January, when was the date yesterday? The 14th?
Yeah.
Was January 14th. So if you want to go back and watch that, I did get very emotional on it. So I think that you'll get through it though. But anyway, if you want to check that out. And then also this month, we've got some great people. We've got our guest teacher, Chad Gonzalez, who's an awesome teacher. He has seen more healings, and between him and Pete Cabrera, who is actually our journey. That's who the journey is of this month, is Pete Cabrera, where he talks about his life before he, before he got a hold of the gospel and before he was out on the streets praying for people. And it's a pretty awesome story. So go check those out. And of course, always check out our amazing, awesome teachers. We love you all so much. Bye-bye.